Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
If you want to escape the heat, Phoenix is normally the last place you go, but Jimmy Butler has always been a bit different. And as much as my skin crawls over this ongoing saga, from the actions of Butler in Miami to a team in Phoenix willing to sell off every future asset for another aging star, to the very real fears that this might fail spectacularly, I'll say this much. I find it remarkable how the Suns are able to exploit every loophole to disregard the salary cap, and we must remind ourselves that an owner who spends recklessly is the kind of owner we have dreamed about ever since Jerry Colangelo sold the team. I also truly believe the best version of Butler is exactly the kind of menacing alpha leader and force of nature that Book and KD badly need. And I couldn't help but watch the hapless, clownish Brooklyn Nets last night without thinking of our own future. Nets fans were so bored they cheered for KD. They went crazy for Bol, and then they filed out of the arena to the tune of Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life. That could be us if we blow it all up now, and sorry, but we've all lived enough of the Hard Knock Life already. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I don't think there was something lined up already where you make the deal and then all of a sudden, all of a sudden Bradley is traded and you get Jimmy and stuff like that. I think you make the deal knowing that you have three options instead of one now. With these draft picks, whether it be Beal, whether it be Nurkic, whether it be somebody else out there that as we get closer to the deadline to go out and try to trade for. There as we've said, as you guys know, listen, like time's running out on this group. I mean that's the reality of it here as far as the team that you've gone all in. And this is one of your few assets that you can get and then try to upgrade this roster with 2 weeks left.
It's Bobby Marks from ESPN. He joined us yesterday here on Bickley and Marotta mornings. That was before the latest Jimmy Butler suspension. Another 2-game penalty handed out from the Miami Heat because he missed a team flight to Milwaukee. You're hitting on a very not a source. I think it's a fascinating subject. Is beliefs of fan bases. And there's a lot. I always get to the point when it comes to anything financial. Hey, it's not my money. What do I care? And yeah, it's a very simplistic way to look at things.
Right.
If you go less simplistic and you look deeper, there are ramifications to what the Phoenix Suns are doing. And it's not possible ramifications. If they stay in the second apron, the restrictions get worse and worse.
Yeah, every first-round pick going forward gets frozen.
Yes.
So you can't just keep trading your way out of this.
No, you can't. And those picks also get moved to the end of the first round, regardless of where you've earned them. So there are definite further penalties to this.
I wasn't even aware of that. I guess I should have been, but that's very penal.
Yeah, I mean, it's all... it's all theoretical now because the second apron is new. We haven't seen a team go through this. The Suns will probably be the first team that gets hit with those penalties, and they're fine with it. They're fine with it. But what I can't get past, and I brought this up, and you hit on it in the blast too, is the criticism of Matt Ishbia. Because you are so right. This fan base starved for just to be competitive and relevant. And when they started to be relevant, the fan base, and I'm not saying they were wrong to do it, was starved for respect. Why are the talking heads not talking about the Phoenix Suns? We're on the rise. This, I mean, they're pursuing one thing, and they're pursuing it more, stubbornly, aggressively than any team we've ever seen in this market. And yes, again, it's weird because there's a downside to it. But I can't get past that. Me and my simplistic level of thinking, I can't get past what Matt Ishbia has done and a promise to the Suns fans that he's going to deliver a championship. Yeah. Nothing is guaranteed, but he's lived up to his end of the bargain. There's no doubt about it.
And this is where I think I separate myself from the line of criticism. Like John Hollinger began a piece by writing this, quote, "Say this for the Phoenix Suns. They have one of the NBA's most creative front offices when it comes to finding new and different ways in which to mortgage their future. Never mind that this strategy hit its peak 2 years ago, and it has long since been time to turn this ship around. They're still plowing full steam ahead and throwing life jackets overboard as they go." Okay, and he goes on to talk about how Jimmy Butler is the new shiny object to an owner who cannot resist shiny objects. Here's where I think the difference is, and I said this earlier. I'm going to repeat it now. In reading about Matt Ishbia in a business publication about a year ago, they made the point that most big-time mortgage brokers, lenders, you name it, were going one way, and Matt Ishbia was doubling down the other way. The only guy who was, and there were people going, "What is he doing? What does he know that we don't know?" And this is his nature. So I don't think this is not, being obsessed with stars or that kind of stuff. I really believe that Matt Ishbia, in his mind, will find a way to get through all loopholes and all that. Can they do that? I don't know how they're going to do that. But if this team is resourceful enough to continue to find pennies in the couch for things, then you've got to trust them to at least be able to navigate the back end of this if it really does fail spectacularly, given how much he is willing to spend. So just remember that. You cannot like the move for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons that I will not like this move if and when it happens, and I think it will happen. But you've got to make that mental correction in your head that what Matt Ishbia is doing is something that you cannot, in theory, be critical of. Not when we came out of a previous owner who every time this team got close, that annual profit came first. And we have many examples of it. Trading off draft picks, selling off draft picks. There were many things. Not paying Joe Johnson back in the day. There
eliminating a G League team.
Eliminating a G League team. So there were a lot of things that by comparison would make this owner much, much preferable. And the fact that he's willing to spend the way he is willing to spend is something that we need to be thankful for. Now, as it pertains to Jimmy Butler, if he comes in and nothing changes with this basketball team, then yeah, there's going to have to be a lot of corrections. But like I say, as much as I have trepidations and as much as I really have contempt for what Jimmy Butler is doing to a franchise and a fan base in Miami, I want this over not wanting it. I, like you, if they don't make this deal, I'm going to be okay with it because I think there's a lot of danger in this. But now that they've traded that 2031 first-round pick, we're past the point of no return.
Basically, yeah. And again, I mean, I think as a fan, you can disagree with the basketball philosophy. To me, that swerves back to they are not satisfied with what they've put together. It was evident last year when they got rid of Frank Vogel after 1 year. It was evident the year before that when they fired, who is still a very popular head coach in Monty Williams. What they were doing was not good enough. There's a standard that Matt Ishbia wants this organization to perform to. They might be making all the wrong moves. And for the people who believe that they're making all the wrong moves, you got a lot of ammo right now.
Yeah, you do. Well, Bradley Beal is the big chunk of ammo that they whiffed on that.
Yeah.
The idea that was going to complete a big three is terrible in retrospect.
And that's it, though. It's like, obviously things are different and better than with Sarver and that they're doing everything to win, but things can still go wrong in a different way. Than they did. And trying to win every year doesn't mean you're going to win. And you said that you trust that he's going to figure out a way to navigate at the end of this. The navigation might be going, winning 45 games every year and being on the cusp of the playoffs and being at the end of the lottery and never giving in to a total rebuild. And that's not necessarily any better.
Well, listen, the Lakers have never done a total rebuild, have they?
They had top 3 picks 2 years in a row.
They did.
Okay.
They were in the middle between.
And if you look at the young players that they had during that time frame and what they've become elsewhere, you'll laugh. But that was the closest thing that they've had to a total rebuild. Yeah. But again, total rebuilds are different for teams that have a history of success
It's so
and a
true.
collection of
So
championships.
true.
And
So
the
true.
Lakers' total real rebuild involved getting a bunch of young top picks and then trading it for Anthony Davis.
Okay,
Yeah.
look, it just doesn't make sense that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker together on a basketball team result in what we have seen up till this point in time. It just doesn't make any sense to me from a lot of different reasons, from passion to the ongoing mistakes to the turnover, all of it. But the lack of cohesion, the lack of connectivity, the lack of committing yourself to a cause, this to me is so fundamental to what I think I am watching. That Jimmy Butler, I think, changes that calculus. I think there would be a lot of hunger instilled in the product if he shows up here. Now, maybe that's a pipe dream on my behalf, but that's when I try to look for reasons for, let's get on board with this, that's where I start. And I've said it a million times.
Yeah.
This team does not have an alpha.
No, and like we talked about earlier in the week too. I agree with that assessment. He brings a much needed ingredient. But if a new guy off the street can come in and be the alpha from day one, that can light the fire under those who need a fire lit under them, that is an indictment.
So
It's
true.
a plus and an indictment all rolled up into one.
There's no doubt about that.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.